To talk more about this, I'd like to welcome in Art Del Cueto. He's the Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council. Thank you for being here. I want to go through some of these videos that Jorge was just showing us in that report and what these tunnels reveal about the cartel's specific tactics. I mean, you've seen these up close. Take me through what we're seeing and how these things are even constructed.
Well, look, they're just rudimentary. They dig the hole from one side to the other, and they just continue to dig, and they go as deep as they can. I'll tell you what the problem is, though. Also, is agents need to be careful when they discover these, because you don't know where along the river they are, and they could collapse. So you don't know if at that time there's actually individuals in the tunnel themselves. There's times where agents, try to scoot their way in there to see if if they can find anything inside the tunnel. So that's where the huge problem also is, that these things are just, they're holes in the dirt. They could collapse. I grew up on the border, so I can tell you, I grew up in Douglas, Arizona, which happened to be the very first tunnel that they ever found back in the 90s. And back then, it was what you were saying earlier. It had the lights, it had the rail system, it had hydraulic lifts on the Mexican side and on the U.S. side. It was constructed, very well, especially for that time. But because of the crackdown on the border, you're seeing these cartels find more and more creative ways in order to get products and humans across. And at the end, look, something like this is very dangerous for the people that are coming across and for the agents that discover them as well.
We've also got one of these drainage systems that's being used as a tunnel. How are these different and complicate and further challenge Border Patrol's efforts to catch these folks?
Well, some of these drainage ditches, now you got to wait for the water. Water can come in through those areas. So all of this is it's completely dangerous. They're going to continue to come up with different methods. They're going to come up with different ways. A lot of these methods that you're seeing now are methods that were used before. They're just, bringing them back out and using them again because they realize that the border is, it has more security now. You have law enforcement throughout different areas. So this is not the first you're going to see. You're going to continue to see these. My hope is that, you don't see something extremely tragic when it comes to one of these tunnels down the road where one of them may collapse with various humans inside the tunnel itself.
Yeah, heaven forbid. And you're right, Art. I think as the cartels become more desperate, they'll take more desperate measures. These vantage points, these scout houses, how are they getting access to them? And how many are we talking about? I mean, it's very visible from the river.
It's tons, and it's not just in RGV. It's throughout different areas of the border. A lot of these cities on the Mexican side, they're constructed right along the fence line, right along the line of demarcation. Some of them, you can go down in areas and you can see that the wall itself, or the fencing that's the divider between Mexico and the United States, is actually the back wall for some of their own houses. That's how close these houses are. A lot of these houses are abandoned, but they've been taken over by the drug cartels, by the human smugglers, and they go up to as high as they can, and they use them as vantage points. They'll stay there for months, and they'll write down every single movement of the agents. They'll tell, the shifts that the agents come in and out. They do everything they can to acquire as much intel as possible.
Yeah, hidden in plain sight, you could say. The smugglers are not just underground. They're not just in these scout houses, but they're using the river. Talk about the landing pads and the challenge of addressing those spots, those landing areas for the boats to get across.
Obviously, it serves as an obstacle when agents are trying to, get from one area to the other. When they have groups coming across, it's always going to be an obstacle. It's part for them, for the cartels. That's part of their entire job, right? They're going to create new ways to come into the country with drugs and human smuggling. They're going to create barriers. They've made billions of dollars under the last administration, and now they're feeling the crunch, and they realize that they have to get creative. They have to do everything that they can. But unfortunately, in their efforts, they're going to put a lot of lives at risk, especially the men and women that are out there each and every day putting their lives on the line.
Yeah, well, we thank them for the work they're doing and for your time, sir. Appreciate it. Art Del Cueto.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.